for my presentation, and it has affected our global economy as well as the world environment. This pandemic, such as coronavirus, is the result of our humanity's destruction of nature as defined by UN, WHO, and WWF International, and it's because of the illegal and unsustainable wildlife trade. Well, since March 2020 in Bangladesh, when this coronavirus started to spread in our country slowly, the universities and some of the government industries started to have shut down, or you can say close down. And especially in the education sector, they started to declare holidays for 10 days with other business organization. And after that, slowly, the governments and other industrial organizations and the education organizations also had this lockdown for 14 days, 20 days. And initially, it was a lockdown for travel on water, rail, and air route within the country, and later on it started internationally too. And this COVID has actually reduced a lot of parameters in the industrial sector, such as, first of all, the production volume of the industries, and it has immensely affected our garments R&D sectors, which actually the whole country depends on its income or export both. And as you can see, the data is here, little bit given. We all know by now that this coronavirus throughout the world, it has affected even the supply chain of the business and the education systems, tourism, hotel industry, and a lot of jobs has been curtailed in US, America, in North America, in Europe, Southeast Asia, including Bangladesh. And business model has been reshaped, started for like online, offices, online businesses, online shoppings have been introduced due to this COVID-19 risks. And this topic is about the R&D employees' preference due to the COVID-19, which I'm going to explain. First of all, I'll give you some brief idea about our overall Bangladesh business situation in the industry. Say there, it has reduced the production volume, it has staggered the job market, and in the industrial sector, in R&Ds or in other organizations, which depends on raw materials from outside, it has slowed down the production of the end product due to the shortage of the raw materials. And this actually has led to the market loss. Similarly, there are some projects ongoing. The industrial growth has been slowed down due to the fund release problem from international bodies and within the country. And especially the construction worker and staff led to starvation also. And the breakdown of the supply chain of industry throughout the world, and it has affected our country and especially the R&Ds. Well, this factory level impact is that when this coronavirus started to influence or have impact on our industries in R&D sectors too, the authorities or the management started to think about how to keep the operation in continuous process or in open situation. So with the minimum necessary units in humans and scheduling and with also having limited maintenance in the industry or in the factory with limited experts in physical attending the different processes, including workers. And in R&D also, they started to play this, apply this data science, advanced learning, data integration to increase productivity. To keep this, the other sections like production, they started to think about automation in some areas, remote control and data science augment, enable the digital workers. Then the customer engagement, as I told just now, that e-commerce, distance online system, order to cash automation. These things came up due to this COVID-19 situation. And the support function, note as business service using intelligent automation, robotic process. This automation now throughout the world is being implemented, and it has a long good future, as we already know about Industry 4 in other part of the industrial engineering environment. Now about my this area, when RNG started to have affected by this COVID-19, most of the industries, RNGs and other small, medium industries start to think how to keep this running and what to do. First step was that disinfection prior to workers entry to the factory. Before they start to enter, they need to be disinfection. They need to be cleaned up. Which way, what is the method? So all this came up. And the guidance was given from the BJME, internationally, ILO. With all these guidelines in common, first of all, that infection has to be, disinfection has to be done at the entry of the factory with wearing masks, PPs, and gloves if required, spraying throughout the factory, especially the area where the workers, the staffs, they work out. And even the vehicles need to be sprayed before entering. Even the shoes need to be sprayed or have to go through some process. And most of all, a medical team was formed in each industry or in each factory, even in the education system also. When some of the education, universities were open, the offices are open, government offices are open. So they have had this common system of how to keep the staffs, workers, officers, technicians inside the organization. And this is a process, as we already know, that first of all, vehicle has to be disinfected at entry level, wash hand, measure the workers and these technicians, officers with temperature measuring gadgets. Some industry, they need to have PPs wearing in some areas. The machines need to be sprayed before they start. They go on in operative mode. And mostly the information given to each human person working inside the premises, they need to have 3 feet social distance, which is very difficult for this industry workers, engineers, and officers to work. So, which I'm going to explain in details. And task force COVID-19 was developed or formed in each industry. Even in the lift also, there should be a system for disinfected inside the lift environment, so on. Well, I have taken this data from, actually during the COVID, it was very difficult to enter in any factory or this industry, but somehow I had the access to go in 3 RNG factories situated in Gajipur. And here you can see the 31% and 69% male and female respondents. Female is more and male is less, as we all know in garments industries or RNGs, female number is more. And the right hand, the bar chart shows the ages and versus their numbers. And the knowledge about the COVID from the respondents found that mostly they got this idea, 79% from social media, and 9% not so much have idea about this COVID. 5% they have little, and 7% from authentic sources. Nowadays we have this mobile, iPhone, and TV. There are TVs in the roadside tea shops. So information very fast move to the peoples, whether they're educated or not, by the roadside and with their home where they live. So this is the data we first try to get from them, whether they know about the idea or about knowledge about COVID-19, what it is. And this figure, the change in behavior of employees due to COVID, we asked them, do you have find any change in your behavior? And from the data, we find that strongly the 22% agree, and more or less they disagree or say agree 53%. So there is a information gap maybe, and some say they're okay, and some say they find some behavior pattern change within themselves. And in daily activity, strongly agree is 10%, and you can see the brown is more or less agrees 56%, and 12% more or less they disagree, and neutral is 19%. So there is a lot of difference among them about this change in the daily activities of their job. Way of communication. As the authority limited direct conversation to avoid risks, so there is a gap in communication within the industry premise or the industry environment. This is a very big problem for them. Before COVID, they used to talk, they used to move around freely, but due to the restriction of the distance, 3 feet, 1 meter, and it has impact on the way of communication. And some people, those who work in IT related job, they are comfort because they are working from home with laptop, the offices, they don't have much problem. But the workers and the floor in charge, they have problem in this regards. Employees working in the production sections or in the customer service section, they do have some problem as they are instructed, even in our offices, we have some distance maintained. And I've seen in some government offices, in the passport office or in Dhaka, in the ministry, they have a plastic, separation glass type, 3 feet by 4 feet in front of their table. So the people on the other side, whether they take breathing or they have a, cough or something like that, it will not bother the officer sitting the other side. There is a plastic separation, 3 feet by 4 feet. So these things are implied in the industry where there is management offices, but in the floor, factory floor, they have separate separation from one worker to another worker with plastic sheet separating. We can call it parting work. I'll show it in figure later on. And the concentration on work performance. They think that, but they agree that use of frequent washing hand, going from their workstation using sanitizer, has interrupted their concentration on their work performance. Before they used to do continuous work for some time, but nowadays after maybe half an hour they go and wash their hair or instructed by their management. So this interrupt their continuous work and maybe sometimes a hamper on their production line too. But they have to go through this instruction. Though it continuous washing hand or in time interval, it mitigates the risks of coronavirus. Social distancing. This social distance also is a major change that restaurants are facing since the start of this coronavirus. after March 2020. And this has a significant impact on their work performance. And they cannot talk. They are continuously doing the monotonous job. Before they used to roam around and talk with their partners or with their friends around working in the same section. And in the production-related job, maintenance work, meeting, briefing, even in the discussion with workers, all are hampered due to this social distancing. And before there were more experts working together, but now due to the COVID situation, they have been in a shifting mood. Say before 5 experts were working, now only 3 and the other 2 in the next shift. This is seen in the not only in the garments industry, in the cement industry like Lafarge and other multinational companies also having this system. Shift-wise working. Preventive measures taken in that industry, as I told you before, that they wear masks and they try to maintain social distance of at least 1 meter, and they have marking after 1 meter that where they should stand. And wearing masks also they have problem. They cannot open it frequently. So preventive measures in the R&D, they have given that at least 2 meter. Before it was 1 meter, but when the coronavirus was spreading rapidly, the industry or the R&Ds following the IOLOS and the BGME, they said 6 feet where the work is flexible, but where the work is not flexible, say in the sewing machine setup, you cannot change their line. Once the layout is given, machines are set, you cannot frequently change. So what to do? They use the separate plastic 3 feet by 4 feet or 4 feet by 6 feet, separating one sewing working station with the another sewing working station. So there may be a safety in that. And mostly the air purifying system has been installed, say ventilator, exhaust fan has been put more. Previously, maybe in one room there were 4, now they have made 6 or 7 because the people, they wear masks and they cannot open it, and if they wear masks for a long time, it will affect their health. So the ventilation systems, or where there are air conditions, the control of the temperature, all these are done. And frequently the workers, first of all, while they enter the factory, they are checked with the temperature gadget about the body temperature, and even when they are working for a long time, they are even again checked in the factory. And the washing arrangement with shoe cleaning facilities are there. The one thing they complain that itching and sweating are common felt by most of the respondents, because approximately 7 to 8 hours they have to wear their masks, except when they go for lunch, or they have this break, and sometimes they open their masks while eating the lunch. And these are some figures taken during the checking of the, and this table shows the safety measure followed by the respondents. Washing 100%, wearing gloves during work is 52.9. This is due to some sections they don't need to wear gloves, and those who doesn't go, that is 47. And cleaning shoe before entering in some section, it is there. Only in the main entrance they have this shoe cleaning system, but others in the section wise they don't have much in all part of the industry. And wearing PP where it is necessary, they wear. That's why it is 22.1%. This we found while getting the questionnaire answer and some physical uh, visit to the factory. And this is the figure how they do the process of maintaining safety from the COVID-19, from entrance, cleaning inside the factory, checking their temperature within the factory, in the lift. While they go for washing, there is a social distance and there are instructions which are given in the floor walls. Even there is a meeting every week by the control committee what to do. Task force are there and signs are there for the common people in Bengali, not in English, because most of them are garments workers. And the limitation of the study is that because due to COVID, we are unable to go all the time. So we send sometimes questions, and I visited a few days there, talking with their top management. And in ILO guidelines, they have supplied some posters which I collected in the leaflet for the garment industries, and it helped them to have the awareness. Mostly what the industry people, they try to do to make them awareness, to tell them whenever you go home, you must wash your hands frequently and try to clean your clothes and keep distance from each other. I don't know whether they do it in when they go home, or we can see in the street or in the open when we go to the market. Nobody bothers. One market food seller told me that I have given 2 vaccines. I am safe. So I just laughed. I couldn't answer. I couldn't tell him because they think that I've given 2 vaccines, so I'm free. I don't need to wear mask. So this has to be given from the top of the, I say from the government advertisement in the TV or in, and can be implied in the industry by the top management. Though you have 2 vaccines, you must wear masks. As my previous speaker, keynote professor Haider Ali was explaining, we have marked many things. Uh, I don't know what will happen in the future, but we must wear the mask. We must keep this social distance, whether we have 2 vaccines or not. Because this is a only 1.5 years on, and still countries like Russia, Australia again affected. And in USA, some province, some states are under this COVID-19 situation still. So after this COVID infection, since 2020 June, the supply chain was affected in the industry. Slowly, the Bangladesh R&D is coming up. They have trying to recover. Maybe 2000, it will take 2022 or 2023 to recover because the raw materials come from abroad, like China, like Pakistan, and our competitor like Vietnam is there. They have taken our place. So we have to work out the industry, the academician, the government, all together has to work together to regain our loss in the R&D sectors. And these are some few pictures. One thing I just want to add in this research, what I find that this contamination of the single use of plastic, like our masks, and the PPs, it is also contaminating the health environment. We are throwing them open on the road. That awareness is not clear. People are not given about that we cannot throw these masks here and there. There should be some specific area. Even in Europe, they are doing research about this throwing masks here and there, and it is also going in the sea or blocking the Suez Canal drains. And we are having same problem in our country also, because in the municipal waste, it is not separated. it is mixed with the other waste like plastics, kitchen waste, and so on. So there should be separating system. Otherwise, we cannot control coronavirus like this. It will spread again. And for Bangladesh, protection of workers and families should be there in industry. They are doing, but still more has to be given from the government. And affected workers and their families should be take after. They should be looked after. And what I mentioned about the medical waste management in the industries, workers or the officers need, or the management need to have some instruction where they must throw their masks in a proper way, and that must be separated from their industrial waste. And hospital care in industry, adequate doctors must be there with nurses. And mostly awareness should be there all the time. Though it's 1.5 years since this coronavirus affected us, the world, still we don't know about this unseen enemy. We cannot see the doctors, experts, they are all working on it, no doubt. But this unseen enemy is bothering us, affecting our daily life, affecting our children's education system, affecting the production, and so on. So we cannot be, relax on it. And this has introduced to our digital communication in the industry level, in the education system. A new online system is there. Daytime we are working hard physically, but still at night we are also going for this online meeting, seminar, symposium. So it has created stress on us. And the influence of COVID, these are the few things which I found, which has introduced to our life. Say the bonding of the family life is more than previously, because we are staying and we stayed with home with our family, with our kids. And wild animals, various birds, we can see at large in the environment, which we didn't see before, maybe due to our overwork. And online education, virtual office, virtual or online market, online grocery, so on. So these are the new parameters included in our life. So thank you very much for giving me a time to tell you something about what is going on in the world and what we are facing, and what the people in the industry felt that it has impact in their performance, in their daily work, in their family life, and it's also hampered our life too. Thank you again. Stay safe. It's one thing I say, mask is better than a ventilator, home is better than ICU, prevention is better than cure. So we must take care of ourselves. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Iqbal. It is very good informative talk. Actually, in my talk, I also showed the same similar way in mathematical model, because of all the situation actually we maintain. If we maintain this one, even I also mention one thing. You can see, even you mentioned that if you have already two doses of the vaccines, you have fully have to have maintained all other non-pharmaceutical strategies like the physical distancing, mask wearing, washing hands, so all others. So it is very actually important, because to defeat the pandemic, or to reduce the infection, or to win this battle, we have to maintain all the necessary methodology to do it. So thank you again for this informative talk. So we already running out of time, but we can take a very quick question. I think one question is there. COVID is pandemic or epidemic?
It's a pandemic, I think so. I don't know.
So can I answer this one?
Yeah, sure.
So thank you, Engineer Zakir Hussain. He asked about this question: COVID is pandemic or epidemic? Actually, in my talk, I usually discussed all these three types of situation: epidemic, pandemic, and endemic. So epidemic actually is very quickly a quick outbreak happening in a region, in a city, or globally. But when it continues for a longer period, it becomes endemic. And when it spread out more than 3 regions, more than 3 countries, it becomes pandemic. So COVID-19 so is now also a pandemic, and at a time is now endemic, because it is already continuing about 2 years. So at a time, epidemic, endemic, and pandemic, we can say both for the COVID-19 case. Especially, it is now globally in pandemic, of course. Thank you for a good, very informative questions. Any other questions from the audience?
Okay, I have one question about the impact. So topic is COVID-19 R&D employees. So after the survey analysis, did the garments owners, they take any measures based on the analysis? Just curious.
Yeah. Thank you. I visited them, and then my observation was given, and then as my 2 of my students are there, they have taken it, and they are actually doing it. For my one observation was that inside this layout is done before. You cannot change out the layout of the industry, but sometimes you need some separating them with plastic 3x4 or 3x6 feet plastic sheet, a thin sheet, so there can be breathing, and if they get coughing, that can be prevented. And this marks problem 7 to 8 hours, whether that can be reduced, or they can sometimes open the mask. That recommendation was given them. And another one was this ventilation problem, because before they didn't have this mask wearing, now they have this mask. And the temperature inside, humidity, this is very important, because you are keeping them inside the factory for a long time. You must give some comfort to the worker, to the officer who are working there for a long time. That need to be understood by the management. Thank you.
So another question, I think, in chat box: is COVID helping to leading political domination all over the world on behalf of the Democratic Party?
Well, we are in the education sector. This is a political question. I don't know, but maybe some country are affected with this COVID politically. Sometime, I don't know, but in depth, if you say, if your economy is strong, or if you can stand against this COVID, like Bangladesh, for the last, during this COVID, Bangladesh stood very strongly, and now gaining in the garments on others. So similarly, in the other country, if the government is weak, cannot tackle COVID, of course these political things come up. Thank you.
So thank you. I think we are running the time very short. So thank you, Professor Iqbal, for informative talk. I think I could conclude.
Thank you very much
for this session, and thank you. For our next session, I would like to hand over Dr. Harun or some Dr. Mamun.
Okay, thanks, Professor. Okay. So I think our next speaker is, is he present, Dr. Sarwar Morshed, or I think he's not there. So I think we move to our next one. That is actually our Professor Nur Afsar Choudhury. For some emergency, he could not attend. So our next speaker is Professor M. Sharifullah, KIT Japan. So may I start it now, Dr. Mamun Rashid?
No, please proceed.
Proceed with Professor Sharifullah, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to call Professor M. Sharifullah, and his topic is titled Driving Force Behind Technological Innovation. And just I'd like to give a brief description about him. So Professor Sharifullah was born and raised in Bangladesh. He received his Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology in late 1992. In early 1993, he moved to Japan for graduate studies. Accordingly, he received his Master and Doctor of Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering, Major Manufacturing from Kansai University Graduate School in early 1996 and 1999, respectively. He moved to Thailand in 2000 and started working as a full-time faculty member at Asian Institute of Technology, AIT, 2000 to 2022 as assistant professor. In late 2002, he moved to United Arab Emirates and joined United Arab Emirates 2002 2006, and their work is the assistant professor and then moved to associate professor. But at the moment, he is working in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Kitami Institute of Technology, Japan. And his research interests include realization engineering, advanced manufacturing engineering, mechanical engineering. So I'd like to hand over the floor to Professor Sharifullah. The time is yours. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So I
sir, you're
thought
audible.
I should start at 7, so 15 minutes earlier, right?